You know, the one request I've gotten most from people is to do a video on Anna Sarkeesian's TED Talk. Well, I didn't go over it because she's not quite as ridiculous as usual in this, but I've gotten so many requests, I thought, hey, I'm a people pleaser, I'll take a stab at it. Of course, since this is going to be a lecture, I'll be taking notes for this lecture. Alright, let's go. Lose all respect for TED Talks.
I'd like to share with you a story about how I accidentally became the villain of a massively online game in real life. For the past 4 years, I've been running a video web series on YouTube called Feminist Frequency, where I deconstruct the representations of women in the media. I try to provide the tools to give people the language to talk about sexism and issues of gender using accessible language from popular culture, such as TV shows, movies, comic books, and video games. Now, video games are really interesting because it's actually the fastest growing form of mass media today. This is a photo of me at age 10 playing Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. So I've been playing games for quite a while.
Don't let children play video games. It makes them retarded.
And in addition to being a lot of fun to play, games have lots of positive benefits as well. So again, I've been playing games for a while, but there's something that's always kind of bothered me.
Here we go.
It is no secret that the video game industry boasts some of the most sexually objectified, stereotyped, and downright oppressive portrayals of women in any medium. So with that in mind, I decided to launch a fundraising campaign on the crowdfunding website Kickstarter, where I would create a series of videos to look specifically at the way women are represented in video games. The idea being that if you were interested in the project, you could donate, and if you weren't interested, you could choose not to donate.
Well, gee whiz, you make it all sound so innocent, but you yourself claim it's oppressive, so wouldn't it be reasonable to conclude that you're actually trying to change how video games are doing their business, and people don't really like it when you just go in and start fucking up their shit, so, I mean, it's not really just, oh, I'm going to comment on this, but to no effect. No, it seems like you're going to try to fuck some shit up.
It's pretty straightforward, right? I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Yeah. Turns out that there are a bunch of male gamers out there who were, shall we say, not too excited about this project. Now, I'm a pop culture critic, I am a feminist, and I'm a woman. And I'm all of these things openly on the internet. So I'm no stranger to some level of sexist backlash. I've sadly gotten used to sexist slurs and sexist insults, usually involving kitchens and sandwiches.
And yet, I have never seen you in a kitchen, and I still don't have a fucking sandwich. Look at this. I am doing this video on request, and I've gotten maybe like 10 requests to do it. You've gotten probably hundreds of requests to, you know, get in the kitchen and make me a goddamn sandwich. Yet no kitchen, no sandwich. See, I aim to please. That's just called, you know, being, you know, good performance skills. Jesus Christ, you suck.
But what happened this time was a little bit different. I found myself the target of a massive online hate campaign. Now, the next couple of slides represent just a tiny fraction of the harassment I received, and they come with a very large trigger warning. All of my social media sites were flooded with threats of rape, violence, sexual assault, death, and you'll notice that these threats and comments were all specifically targeting my gender.
Gee, you constantly make videos and you have websites entirely devoted to how sensitive you are about your gender issues, and then when people do these online attacks, they target your gender. Go figure. It's almost like you're broadcasting your fucking weaknesses, and then people see that broadcast and then attack said broadcasted weaknesses. It's almost like they have a fucking brain or something.
The Wikipedia article about me was vandalized with sexism, racism, and pornographic images.
Oh, that is so awesome. I didn't even know about that.
They attempted to knock my website offline, hack into my email and other accounts. They attempted to collect and distribute my personal information, including my home address and phone number. There were images made, pornographic images made in my likeness being raped by video game characters and sent to me again and again. There was even a game made where players were invited to beat the bitch up, in which, upon clicking on the screen, an image of me would become increasingly battered and bruised. You get the point. We'll move on. What's even more disturbing, if that's even possible, than this overt display of misogyny on a grand scale is that the perpetrators openly referred to this harassment campaign and their abuse as a game. They referred to their abuse as a game. So, in their minds, they concocted this grand fiction in which they're the heroic players of a massively multiplayer online game working together to take down an enemy.
I'm sorry, how is that a fiction? That is an accurate description of precisely what happened, okay? It is a massively, it is an online game, multiplayer. You are their enemy, they're working to take you down, and in this context, that makes them the hero, so, that's not in any way a fiction. That's just what happened. And you're saying, oh, it's not a game, they think it's a game, blah, 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 because it's abuse, it's terrible abuse. Bitch, I have been shot, stabbed, electrocuted, and poisoned, and that was just by my friends. You don't know what abuse is, you just gotta shut the fuck up with that shit. This is what bothers me about those atheism plus people. It's like, ooh, words, they're terrible, because words is really harmful, it's words. Get a fucking grip. Every child knows sticks and stones can break my bones, yada yada, whatever the fuck how that goes. I'm sorry, go on.
So what is the goal? Well, the immediate explicit goal is to stop the villain and save video games from me and my crazy feminist schemes. And they tried to do this by silencing and discrediting me and my project. But the larger implicit goal here is that they're actually trying to maintain the status quo of video games as a male-dominated space.
I was trying to think of a nice analogy to describe what the Feminist Frequency is doing here and where she's going wrong. Well, she's doing it on purpose, but why it's just retarded in general. Try to follow me here. Suppose I drive down to Compton, all black, and I walk up to a group of black people and I'm like, say, fellas, you're acting awfully black here. As a white person, I feel fully entitled to come in here and tell you you should probably behave in a way that is more consistent with my white sensibilities, because that would make me more comfortable. Whoa, fellas, I don't understand the hostility. You're being a bit racist. I'm just saying that your elaborate handshakes, they're offensive and, quite frankly, frightening to me. So if you could just black it back a bit, that would just be fantastic. Now, would I die? Possibly. Probably not. But I'd have a bad day, I'll tell you that. Because it's not because it's an all-black club, it's because when you saunter into a self-organized community of any type of people, black, white, male, whatever, if they have their own rules, their own organization, and you just say, hey, because I'm X, I get to dictate shit to you, they're going to say, get the fuck up out of here. Or they'd be like, check out this motherfucker, you better get your tracker ass out of here.
And all of the privileges and entitlements that come with an unquestioned boys club.
Say, fellas, why do you feel so entitled to maintain your black club here? I don't understand why you feel so entitled and privileged. I'm just trying to tell you how to reorganize your entire society here.
So what type of game is this? Well, it's fundamentally a social one. Now, we don't usually think of online harassment as a social activity, but we do know from the strategies and tactics that they used that they were not working alone, that they were actually loosely coordinating with one another. And this social component is a powerful motivating factor that works to provide incentives for players to participate, or perpetrators rather, to participate, and to actually escalate the attacks.
Say, I can't help but notice that this crowd of black people is increasing and surrounding me as I continue spouting on my rhetoric about how they should behave a little less blackly in accordance with my white sensibilities. It's almost like their racial attacks upon me are a social activity.
It's not a game. It's an overt display of angry misogyny on a massive scale.
Yeah, it goes on for this like a while. Wow, wow, wow. I'm a big fat victim. Wow, wow, wow. I thought I'd give another example of what she's trying to do here. One thing I've noticed is whenever there is a large group of women with no men, you don't want to be the one man to go into that group, or at least I don't, because I find that a group of all women, they generally tend to discuss things that I find very tedious. If you'd like an example, watch any episode of Sex and the City or the Sex and the City movies, and every single thing that is said on that show is an example of what I'm talking about. But here's the thing. If I know that groups of women like to talk about these things, and they enjoy talking about these things, you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to go up to that group of women and say, hey women, why don't you discuss some more interesting shit for my benefit? I'm a guy. I don't like talking about interior design or which guy is a better kisser or like fashion or any of that shit. How about we discuss like power tools and shit, huh? Why don't we do that, ladies? Why don't you cater to me? Why would I do that? You'd have to... The arrogance would be fucking mind-boggling. What I do is, a group of women invites me to come over and sit with them. I'm like, yeah, I have some other stuff to do, so, gonna have to take a rain check on that. I'm not gonna be impolite, but it's not my cup of tea, so crazy, I avoid it. Now how hard is that? If you don't like what people are doing, just don't go over there and demand they do it differently. Go find your own fucking shit. Jesus. Arrogance. Mind-boggling. Have a nice day.